What's up, Crypto Crew, and welcome back. Or if this is your first time, I'm Captain Crypto Mite, actively escaping the Matrix, scoping out the crypto ocean. So if you like your odds, get on the boat, stay up to date, thumbs up, and join the hunt.
Into the boat!
Crypto Crew, what if Yonatan Sompolinsky actually tried to stop Kaspa's launch? In today's vid, you'll hear the Kaspa originator reveal the wild, messy, and almost disastrous story of how Kaspa went live, from failed experiments to community miners forcing the network into existence. This is the untold truth about Kaspa's chaotic launch. Stay tuned, because what you'll hear may change the way we think about fair launches and decentralized crypto forever.
I guess you guys aren't ready for that yet.
Prove all things, hold fast that which is good. Quick shout out to our partners at Caleb and Brown. These guys have been in the crypto space for almost a decade, building a reputation for guiding investors like you through the sometimes chaotic waters of this crypto ocean. From trading and securely holding assets like Kaspa to seamless withdrawals with no hidden fees, Caleb and Brown offers institutional grade security to you, delivered with a personal 24/7 touch. So if you want calm, competent support to help steer your next bull run, check out Caleb and Brown through the link in the description box below.
My oversimplification is that proof of work tends to be the more honest form of money, where there is an expenditure of energy that justifies the price of the currency. And also, you cannot say that you created that out of thin air. In the case of Bitcoin, for example, I think that proof of work is the one element of the whole equation that makes it not look like a Ponzi. Like Satoshi, this unknown person just created a monetary system. If it wasn't for the fair launch and the fact that you can mine your own coins and basically be your own Ponzi organizer, I think that's the wrong way to put it, but in this metaphor, it's what makes sense. In the case of proof of stake, if you have one entity that issues all the coins as a pre-mine and maybe allows some to get discovered by validators, there's a huge gap between early adopters and the ones who will basically buy the coin above the $1 price. It's unfair, and it also incentivizes early adopters who get a lot of coins to perpetually stake and earn the largest chunk of rewards. And there is no real cost to that except for maybe just keeping a computer running.
So there's no continuous cost to pushing you out of your current relative position. If you have 20% of the network, there's nothing compelling you to invest more in order to keep that. I guess that's what you're...
I think proof of work is more dynamic. In proof of work, if you don't keep up and you're not competitive, then you're gonna basically become obsolete. You constantly need to find cheaper energy, more efficient devices to mine. And once you cannot find this anymore, you're not gonna be profitable, and someone else maybe will figure out a way.
There were two camps within the proof of work camp, advocating proof of work for two different reasons. So the first one, it's the camp that's treating proof of work as the superior or the only legitimate way to print no money, which I completely agree with. And the second camp emphasizes the superiority of proof of work in terms of consensus. Even if emission winded down, I'd still promote or argue that proof of work has properties that are unachievable in proof of stake. You see this DAG. This DAG has the property that every round, there's no monopoly on sequencing. So if you want to take a transaction and auction it across the miners, you can design such an auction. And you can't do this with proof of stake, because in proof of stake, again, I know there's lots of MEV auctions in proof of stake, but they're all using some centralized intermediaries or other tricks. But if you want a clean auction, a real way to auction the right to sequence your transactions, you can implement such a thing only in proof of work. This is just an example of the property that proof of work has, that there's competition on sequencing in every round. I do want to tell you the story of Kaspa's launch, which was very messy, especially compared to Bitcoin's. If I reflect on this now, this is quite telling on the values and how I was really against launching Kaspa, almost. So I did everything that I could to prevent the launch or for a smooth launch. I'm not sure if you know the story of GameNet, and all these things were considered by everyone, including myself, as very bad ideas that we should get rid of immediately. But it does give you a genuine depiction of our mindset back then. Around the third quarter of 21, I told the investors that I don't see how proof of work is compatible with fair launch and that we should abandon both the business model and the launch. To their credit, I believe it was Kartik from Polychain. He said, the narrative can change. The narrative around proof of work can change. Just launch it the way you see fit. I felt very uncomfortable to launch a new platform. I didn't want to do so. So I consulted Nick Carter, and he was like, if you don't think you want to do this full force, then don't launch. And the creative, very bad idea I had was to create a GameNet, a testnet with incentives. I was at Harvard at the time, so I didn't give it too much thought. I genuinely thought this will be mined by 3 people. And I thought it would be very cool to showcase showcase the research in live, but without trying to increase its hash rate or adoption. So I came up with a bad idea of doing random rewards. I tried to bake in high level of randomness so that miners will either be disincentivized to join the network or will start double spending and creating reorgs. And I thought it would be very cool to see the clash of clans, to see MEV wars or reorg wars between miners. And that was the very bad idea of GameNet. But it does give you a sense that it wasn't an attempt to launch a new Bitcoin or Namecoin or token cap without any care to the problem of lack of social scalability that Nick Szabo rightly talks about. What happened was that people voted otherwise. We didn't even bake in a monetary policy yet, and people, namely miners, the vast majority of which I have no idea who they are, they chose to mine it nonetheless, and the hash rate grew very rapidly. And we, as an I and 1.5 devs that were working on the final runway of the company, were not prepared for that. We prepared neither mining nor support for this growth. So we had to debug, create a second genesis, and cryptographically point to the last block so that everyone can see that nothing shady has happened. And the cryptographic proof is available online. Compared to Bitcoin's impeccable launch, this is horrendous. But I do think this is actually a feature in the sense that you recognize that this wasn't an attempt from a team or from my side to create a new token cap. Rather, it was a vote by the people, so to speak. And I think if someone launches a new L1, I think this is the best way to do everything you can to make it fail, and then to have the people override your allergies to new tokens.
Anyway, what's the feature that I should try here? Like, what's gonna blow my mind? I can go to wallet.
You want to send a transaction?
Sure. Yeah, someone sent me 50 coins and someone sent me 1 CAS. So it's confirmed already. What's happening here?
Okay, so the Kaspa thing, the DAG thing, is the block hashes, right? It's the multiple predecessor references. So instead of one predecessor, you have multiple block parents. One of them is the main one in the ordering, the main chain block. So it's useful, even in the context of a DAG, to think of some chain in the DAG that around which the ordering is solidified and converged. This chain is not chosen according to the longest chain rule, nor according to Ghost. It's the Ghost DAG protocol. So it's the next chain block which includes your block, the block that included your transaction. So it's very useful in terms of heuristics for confirmation times to know if my transaction is, let's say, off chain, it's not in the main canonical chain that was ordered according to Ghost DAG. What's the next block in the chain that's viewed, that saw, or that has a path in the DAG to my transaction? So this is the accepting block hash.
So I do like when I look at this blockDAG visualizer. It's really amazing. Is there any pruning involved? I forgot to ask you about this. Like, how do you make sure that the blockchain doesn't bloat and doesn't just become very data hungry?
Oh, there's lots of pruning involved.
Is it sort of like Mimblewimble or different?
No, Mimblewimble is not compatible with DAG, at least not the vanilla protocol. In DAG, any block, the accepting block, as you saw, the block in a DAG, it references all predecessor blocks, even if they have conflicts. But then it will be impossible to create cryptographically sound a kernel in Mimblewimble terminology that proves the correctness of the new transactions if some of them conflict, if some of them are double spends of another. This was actually, interestingly, the first attempt at Kaspa to create a synthesis of a Spectre at the time. with Mimblewimble, and that became the Azkaban attempts. But nothing serious came out of it because I don't think there was enough interest from enough people to merit launching these things together.
Crypto crew, now you know the real story behind Kaspa's launch disaster and how it turned out into one of the fastest growing proof-of-work projects in today's crypto ocean. If you enjoyed this deep dive with Yonatan Sompolinsky, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts about Kaspa's future, and subscribe for more content like this. And before we go, crypto crew, always make sure to self-custody your crypto investments. At the making of this recording, for a limited time, you can get 20% off using codes CryptoCrew and Labor Day. Prove all things, hold fast that which is good.
Stick around.
Fix your mind before you get to the grind. And with that said, let's continue to escape the matrix. Let's continue to be on the lookout for the next big thing here on the crypto ocean. Grow in grace, and let's make some crypto waves. Say I.